Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Do we have a theme going this morning, or is it just my...
We're getting off the damn mat today. We're moving forward.
Is that what these songs...
Getting off the dang mat today. We're moving forward.
Okay. The mat. Okay.
We've been knocked down. Mm-hmm. We've been cheated. We've been ruled against.
Why haven't we played Chumbawamba yet?
It's on the way. Enough of this.
Okay.
We're getting back to Red Raider football this week. Damn it.
Wow. sounds angry this morning.
I'm not taking this anymore.
Excuse me. It's a usual morning.
Who's that? Quiet Riot?
Yeah.
We're not gonna take.
Oh, that's probably
Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister. Okay. Yeah, couldn't remember.
6:33 this morning here on the Morning Drive. The thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Neil Brown, as he was driving to work yesterday, he must have seen all those Fire Neil Brown billboards and said, "Man, I gotta do something. We gotta have a public execution here." So he gets on the blower and calls his defensive coordinator, Jeff Leslie, and he goes, "Hey, Coach Leslie, you got a chance to? You got a moment here? I need to have a quick conversation with you." And the next thing he knew, he was gone, and he's been replaced by Jeff Coons. The thing about Coach Leslie is he's been with Neil Brown since Troy in 2016. That had to be a tough conversation.
Yeah, I imagine so.
You know, that had to be really, really difficult. He said, "I met with Coach Leslie this morning and informed him we are making a change at the defensive coordinator position. These changes are never easy, but I'm confident this change is in the best interest of our program and puts us in the best position to finish strong." It just feels like Neil Brown's not going to be there next year.
I feel like that's a good bet.
Even though
it would take them finishing strong.
I mean, they're 3-2. They're 4-4. But it just feels like that fan base wants. I mean, and this is every fan base in the history of ever. We want one of ours.
Who's one of theirs?
Jimbo Fisher.
Okay. So they just want him.
Well, I don't know.
It's really that they don't want one of theirs. They want Jimbo Fisher.
Well, he's one of them, too.
He is one of them, too. But, I mean, he's also won a national championship.
He has. And he apparently wants to coach again, but he's not expressed that West Virginia would be his entry point. I also saw somebody comment on this, and there's no way he's going to do this. There's no reason for him to do this. But Nick Saban, you know, he's a West Virginia boy too, but he ain't walking through that door.
I wouldn't guess so.
Wouldn't that be something though?
That'd be some kind of surprise.
That would be some. I think he's enjoying his new gig at ESPN. I think
that's good.
I think he's enjoying not having. Because I mean, one of the reasons he got out. I mean, there was nobody pushing him out at Alabama. Was just the new way of doing business in college football. So,
yeah, he hates the NIL and the portal game.
Yeah. I mean, just that's what.
Get in line, Nick.
That's what. Well, I mean, wouldn't he say, "I'm the start of the line, Jamie"?
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
No.
Didn't mean to insult him.
No. I just thought, you know, man, that's. I wonder if you're buying this, and this will be a Halloween game. Boy, you talk about a nightmare season for the Jets, Jets. Apparently, their starting quarterback now has found the fountain of youth, or so he thinks. He is drinking cayenne pepper and water.
Cayenne pepper?
Cayenne pepper, thank you. It was suggested to him by a teammate. He's dealing with a hamstring, knee, and ankle injuries, plus he's recovering from Achilles tendon tear and rupture from last year. He started drinking it before the Jets' Week 8 game and has continued this week in preparation for the Thursday night game against the Texans at MetLife. God, is that going to be a zoo on Thursday night? I mean, the NFL knew that when they were when the schedule maker was like, okay, what can we do on Halloween night that will create drama? Oh, let's have the Jets play.
Just because it's the Jets, you think it'll be high drama?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's been high drama because of the Jets. I mean, plus the freaks will be out in New York, you know. I mean, not that there's freaks in every NFL city, hell, every city for that matter. But there's a special
the guy who lives at the complex.
There's a special high number of them, you know, concentrated version of freaks there in New York City.
That was there.
So anyway, I feel like there'll be no shortage of freaks on Thursday night there in New York. We'll have that game for you on the radio on Thursday night as well.
Doesn't feel like those are the kind of people going to football games, though.
I think they'll go just for the quote opportunity to potentially be on.
I mean, I know it's the Jets
on national television,
and nobody cares about the Jets, even in New York. Mm-hmm. But those aren't cheap tickets, Chuck. The freaks don't have that kind of money to spend on it. They're spending it on other things, being freaky.
Now we're assuming all the freaks are poor.
No, I think they'll be.
They just don't have NFL ticket money.
There's wackos at every level of society. Sometimes you just don't know who they are because they don't. They rear their ugly head at other moments. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I see.
Again, I mean, you would never know if somebody, you know, just that you were sitting next to at work, or
right,
you know, or you shaking hands with at a business meeting, live in a colony. So you just never know.
There's no colony. It's just me and the lucky lady. There's no colony there. I mean, I keep referring to this colony. That's colony.
I think we have good reason to refer to this colony.
I mean, colony suggests that there's a large grouping of people, and there's no grouping of people inside our colony, quote, colony.
Well, when you've had your moments, you've not described your moments with the lucky lady involved. You've described your moments with other people
just involved. The yard fairies when they came by, you know. But that's been years ago. Just the yard fairies. And we don't have any
the pool guy or something.
No, there's no pool guy. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
The yard fairies, and there's no grass in the backyard now, so there's no reason for the yard fairies to disturb me. Okay. Besides, I had my goggles on.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today is October 30th, 2024. Here is Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
1919. Baseball league presidents call for the abolishment of the spitball.
No, man.
Notice it wasn't abolished yet. They just called for it.
That seems like a good idea. I mean, if I'm the catcher, I don't want to have to be throwing back a pitch that has your loogie on it.
1945, Branch Rickey signs Jackie Robinson to a contract with the Montreal Royals, the top minor league affiliate of the Brooklyn Dodgers. 1963, Sandy Koufax wins the National League MVP award. 10 years later, Tom Seaver becomes the first non-20 game winner to win the Cy Young Award. A year later, California Angel Nolan Ryan throws the fastest recorded pitch at that time, 100.9 miles per hour. 1993, Toronto Maple Leafs lose their first game of the season after starting the season 10-0. By the way, the Stars 7-2 on the year.
Do you think if you had today's jugs gun that Nolan Ryan's pitch would be faster versus what they were using then?
No. I think his pitch was measured correctly.
I really have no idea.
If Nolan Ryan was pitching today, do I think he'd be throwing faster than 100 miles an hour? Yes.
Because of technology.
And strength and conditioning and everything else.
That's probably true.
And we still have Advil, so he'd still have the lengthy career that he had. See, that's a joke because he did all the Advil commercials.
Yeah,
I followed you.
2004, NCAA passing leader Sonny Cumbie threw for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
Defensive end Adele Duckett intercepted Dylan Mercer's pass. No way I got that right.
Adele Duckett.
That wasn't the one I was talking about, but okay. Torian Henderson busted through a big hole up the middle and went 43 yards for a touchdown, giving the Red Raiders a 35-25 victory over Kansas State.
What was the quarterback's name again?
Sonny Cumbie.
No, theirs.
Oh, Dylan Meese. I got no idea. I got this completely wrong. Meier? Meir? Dylan Meir?
Meyer.
Dylan Meyer, yeah.
That's a weird spelling, though.
Doesn't matter. Kansas State, he can suck it. 2013. Baseball World Series. Red Sox beat the Cardinals 6-1 in Game 6 at Fenway Park to win the title. David Ortiz, your MVP. It's National Tech Talk Hates Today.
Oh, no.
No, they do.
Candy corn.
It's candy corn day.
No, this version, I think, is fine with candy corn.
That's what they're known for. So they can turn the tables today if they want to, but it's National Candy Corn Day.
You know what's really priceless to watch is Coach McGuire waxing eloquently about his the love for candy corn while his host of his radio show, Chris Level, squirms in his seat and tries to convince him otherwise. But the head coach loves candy corn. This head coach loves candy corn.
Okay. That's exciting. I'm wore out.
I am too. The only reason I brought it up is because he brought it up.
Well, I only brought it up because it's 10-year-old, don't I? Quick.
What every other candy in the world, for the most part, some people love it and some people hate it.
I like candy corn.
I don't know what
that makes me a bad person.
No, it does not. I don't like it, but I mean, it's just not a big deal to me. It's not a big deal to me what other people eat or what other people like.
Yeah, I also like those little orange pumpkins too.
I would say just take a bite out of a candle instead. It tastes the same, but that's whatever.
Have you ever done that? Taken a bite out of a candle? Like when you were a kid, did you ever do that?
I think
not on purpose.
It feels like it, like Boy Scouts once, we were goofing off and like daring you to try a little bite or little piece of wax, dried wax or something. Yes. Seems like something we did when we were about 6 or 7 at Boy Scouts or whatever.
That makes sense.
Fastest Texas Tech receiver.
Jakeem Grant.
Happy birthday, Jakeem. 32 today.
That's a no-brainer, right?
He's definitely the quickest. I mean, we never had one of Coach Kitley's sprinters over there playing wide receiver for us.
I still might pick Jakeem in that race.
Carlos Francis was pretty quick. He's pretty fast. And there was another guy I'm trying to remember. That was kind of in that era that was pretty fast as well.
Didn't we have a track guy that was also playing football at one point?
And Nehemiah Glover is who I was thinking of. He was pretty fast.
Yeah. Jakeem's a good guess, though. I mean, it seems like that's probably a fair guess. But his quicks were what made him so awesome. I mean, that dude fast and could stop on a dime and change direction. Just like, boom, like nothing. It was awesome.
Also, Devin Booker turning 28 today. WWE Superstar Edge is 51. Henry Winkler is 79. Marcus Mariota is 31, and Ty Detmer is 57. And on this day, I really wish I would have been working this day. Like, this is one of those moments I would have killed to have been working this day. 1938. War of the Worlds, with Orson Welles' realistic radio dramatization of the Martian invasion of Earth. Broadcast on the radio, October 30th, 1938.
Yeah. Why do you wish you were working?
I'm with you, Jeff.
That is one of the iconic moments in radio history.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All because everybody was listening to a ventriloquist on the radio. Is why everybody went crazy. Because they missed the very beginning, when it at the beginning clearly stated that what you are about to hear is a play. And because they were listening to a ventriloquist on the radio that ran long, they didn't hear that part, so they thought the entire Martian invasion was a real news story. And people lost their minds. And people think, well, it would never happen today. We can get people Googling stuff for 40 minutes to argue with us, and if we kept our story straight, we could convince them that Baron Morton didn't enter the transfer portal.
People are so
gullible
out there and different now. Everything is believable to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
nothing is shocking anymore. Almost, right?
Yeah, you see it, and then you're also going to go, did that like it's like Vanderbilt last week putting up somebody showing that they put up a screen for the UT fans for the visitor section so they wouldn't throw beer bottles and water bottles on the field, and it looked real. And then you Google just a little bit, and you're like, no, that didn't happen.
When I saw that picture, I totally had forgotten about the UT throwing beer bottles things. I'm like, I'm confused. Why do they have a net?
Keeping them out. That is this day in sports history.
All right, it's time for our lucky local winning word this morning. It's brought to you by Double T 97.3 in the home zone. I'm going to give you a word, and you can go to doublet97.3.com and enter that word, and you potentially could win some money, whether it's today or tomorrow or Friday or even next week. The more times you enter, the more chances you have to win. That just makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
It's a local contest. We'll give away $2,500 at Two Docks on Thursday, December the 5th. Okay? So make sure that you listen up and hear this word that I'm about to give you. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the money. Penalty is the word this morning. Penalty. Penalty. Penalty.
So you're saying if you don't enter penalty, you will commit a penalty and not get the advance that you would like.
Yeah. Penalty. Yeah. Penalty marker. That was Lindsey Nelson, the old CBS broadcaster who did the Cotton Bowl for years. He always had a flashy sport coat and a flashy tie on New Year's Day, and he would do the games. So
he's one of those guys.
And he was one of those guys that you wanted to hear him like once or twice a year, not necessarily every week, but he would always say penalty marker, Lindsey Nelson.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Reminder, we'll have Game 5 of the World Series tonight. Yankees won last night, 11-4 in the Bronx. It'll be back in New York City tonight. They'll try to force this thing to go back to Los Angeles, and Chavez Ravine and all that kind of stuff for Game 6 on Friday night. So that... you win tonight. And the collar starts to get just a little tight for the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's a big if.
I know.
That's a big if. I was just happy to see. The fans got to have a fun moment.
Sure.
They don't want to see your team go out and getting swept in 4 straight games and all that. So they got to have their fun last night. And Garrett Cole obviously gives me more confidence when he's pitching for the Yankees than anybody else. But at the same time, I still, Dodgers lineup has just been so incredibly good. I can't believe that. Shohei Ohtani last night running with holding the top of his jersey or whatever, so his shoulder doesn't move. I cannot believe he's playing through that. I guess it's just a pain thing.
Must be.
That's really all.
He dislocated the shoulder, and or separated it. It must be. Just remember, what's the guy's name played for Coach Tuberville? Terrence. He was like a linebacker.
Or number 1.
He wore number 1. Yeah, Terrence Bullitt.
Bullitt. Yeah, that's it.
Terrence Bullitt. Yeah.
Good pull, Chuck.
He. I remember being at a practice and that happened to him and they had this harness to try to help keep it in place, but just felt like, man, every time that he hit somebody, that I'm sure he had to have an immense amount of pain. The thing that was crazy about, and you're going to have to help me with this pronunciation of his name, because you did a game with him and Texas Tech, but the Dodgers started a guy last night. It was his first game to start, right?
Who was it? I didn't see the beginning game.
Ben Casprius.
Where did I do a game?
Apparently he played for Connecticut. Gus was talking about this on Tech Talk yesterday.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember him.
Pitched in a game against Texas Tech. Kasparius, I think is how you pronounce his name, Ben Kasparius.
Okay.
And but it was like his first game, and we've seen this several times in the playoffs, which it's been almost unheard of.
Yeah, just the number of bullpen games that these teams have used this year, and just back end of the bullpen blowout game kind of situation. Guys that are suddenly starting games, it's just really surprising. I will say this: did you guys see the? They have their stand up for cancer moment there.
I did not see that.
Did you see that last night?
No.
Because they were showing the guys, and sure enough, there was our guy Clayton Beater.
Is that right?
That was really cool. That was like my favorite part of the night.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kasparius, I guess he's actually has his Major League Baseball record is 2-0, but I think that was his first start because he is a bullpen guy.
Yeah, but I mean that's just become more normal now.
I know, but you're playing for the right to win a World Series, and you roll out a guy that's never started a game before.
Yeah,
I mean that's the thing. Is just that as a freshman, he helped UConn get to the College World Series. He had a record of 1.69, 10 appearances
at UConn.
Excuse me, North Carolina. I'm sorry. He's from Connecticut. He played college baseball at the University of North Carolina for 2 years. He was a two-way player. As a freshman, he had 1.69 earned run average, 10 appearances, collecting 18 hits and 15 RBI. Okay. So he transferred to the University of Connecticut in 2020.
And then he pitched against the Red Raiders. Okay.
Was denied a waiver, had to sit out his junior season.
What?
Which wound up being canceled anyway by the COVID-19 pandemic. And then had hoped to be selected in the 2020 Major League Baseball draft, but was not. So he returned to Connecticut in 2021. He had 15 starts, 8-5 with a 4.03 record. Yeah. This would come as no surprise to you, but I mean, I'm sure. I don't know if Gus had to go back and look at his notes or look at it, but he remembered this guy, Kasparius.
Yeah, name sounds somewhat familiar, but
yeah. They were up 3-0, Chuck. They could put a position player into pitch and be okay given the lead in the series. No, I completely disagree with that. I mean, we have not ever seen this in Major League Baseball where you have guys that are getting their first starts on the mound. I don't think we've ever seen this in the history of baseball. The guy's first start was a chance for the team to clinch a World Series.
First career start, I bet you're probably right. Yeah, bet you're probably right. But that's just the way people are using bullpen guys. These bullpen games now.
Yeah. It just seems so bizarre to me.
And the Dodgers obviously had. I know of at least 2 of their starting pitchers that are injured, so that's factored into them needing to do that this offseason.
Sure, I mean, if they had Shohei Ohtani, he would have probably pitched last night.
Yeah, so that's really a third.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I don't think he would have pitched last night with his injured right shoulder.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. But
this was really odd to me that he's having to run and walk, holding up his arm.
That is crazy.
Yet he's out there swinging it. Kind of a lot has been made about Aaron Judge really not being a big factor in the series. He got his second hit last night and drove in his first run, but Shohei's been really quiet too.
The guys on Fox
he had a big hit in Game 1 in the 9th.
The guys on Fox last night, Jeter and A-Rod and Big Papi, almost to a man, they all kind of felt like that the Yankees had a big exhale when the Grand Slam home run took place. And that they felt like that it freed that they were swinging better after that, and they got another home run after that. They got some more runs after that, but I maybe there is something to be said for that. I mean, those guys obviously have been in those big moments. They've been on those benches, but it's just everybody just relaxes when you have a lead. Well, and you've scored 7 runs in the first 3 games of the series to start scoring some runs and seeing guys get hits. It definitely relaxes everyone. Yeah. It made me laugh because at the very start of the postgame, I was still watching it, and Kevin Burkhardt opens up the postgame and he says, well. I just went, oh, okay. Oh. You didn't use it in the proper syntax is like what we do with well. But it just made me.
There we go.
It just made me laugh.
And it's fine that you do that. Like, let's make this clear. That's your thing. But yeah, it means something completely different here in West Texas.
Somebody asked this question, Jamie. I wonder if the pitch clock has had something to do with it having to throw it faster so they wear out more, because somebody else brings up the fact that the guys on the broadcast last night that said the Yankees have used 40 pitchers throughout the season. 40 pitches.
Long season, injuries.
No, I know, but I mean,
not working out. I mean, there's a million reasons why that.
I know, but usually when you hear a team that uses 40 pitchers, they're not playing in the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they've all dealt with a lot of injuries. I don't think it's the pitch clock.
Okay.
I because we've seen the explosion of arm injuries with baseball pitchers the last 10 years.
It almost seems too like you've got to have it. You've got to have the injury and have the rehab, and then you come back better. That's what it seems like.
Kids are throwing more, and there's so much put into spin rate now, and so guys are trying to spin it more, and I just don't think arms are as used to handling that.
7:24 this morning on the morning drive. Jamie's question of the day is next. A candidate for that question is on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get to Jamie's question next this morning on the morning drive.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, this is kind of an odd question. It's just an opinion, total opinion of your answer here. There are no right and no wrong answers. Okay?
That means we can't screw it up.
I feel like we excel at this.
We excel at this.
Yeah.
Okay?
When there's no right answer.
And this comes from just a topic you and I were touching on a few minutes ago. It feels to me like our fan base, and I assume that every other one is similar to us, is definitely more frustrated right now. And when I say right now, I mean over the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Okay. More than they have ever been before. Okay. And it's like they're quicker to be angry.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. And I'm not here to tell you it's wrong. That's not my point here at all. But I guess I wonder a little bit with how much money is being donated and how much we know the athletes are making. Okay, we have an idea on some and we know on some. Do you think it's okay for fans now to be more upset, to be more critical, now that the players are not just little Johnny student athlete anymore? Mm-hmm. They are well paid. Many of them making way more money than the fans that are rooting for them. Okay. Do you think it's okay that fans now are quicker to be frustrated and maybe have higher expectations because of all of that?
See,
Or is it a situation where you say, hey, we asked you to donate, you did your job, now let us do our job, and you step back. Just because you donated doesn't mean you didn't buy the right to gripe and complain on social media or whatever.
Well, I'm probably going to throw you a curveball here.
That's okay.
I think it's more the fatigue that we hear, and I was going to say Lubbock, because I think the wick for each coach gets a little bit shorter each time you make a new hire, because the new coach comes in and says it's going to be different, or the new coach says, rallies the troops, or we're all in this together, and the problem is that we're in this fast food society, and I can include myself in this, where our patience in everything has gotten shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And so our expectations are that when a new coach comes in, he's just going to turn around right away when that's not realistic. So for me, I think it's the hype of the press conference. It's the hype of what goes on in the off season, whether it's football or basketball. We'll just stick with football and men's basketball. Okay. And I think the thing that it's interesting because your football team and your basketball team are kind of complete opposites in terms of public relations. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about Grant McCaslin. His MO is just they're just quiet. That operation is quiet. And that's the personality of him. And that's usually what happens is the personality of the coach. The personality of the football team is, man, the coach has always got a smile on his face. He's a rah guy. I mean, we saw on Monday, those of us that were there, kind of how fired up he was. And you could see that it really matters to him that they're not playing well, that they're not performing. But, I mean, it just seems like everybody wants to throw the baby out with the bathwater as soon as there's at least a little bit of adversity. We don't want to persevere at all in society today, whether it's in our own jobs, with our kids, our own kids, where this quit and move on and go somewhere else, transfer, the grass is always greener, go get another job somewhere. And I think that's all kind of trickled down to, okay, well, the football team too can't win with this guy, fire him, get a new guy, fire him, get a new guy, fire him, get a new guy. So I don't think it's related to the NIL stuff. I think it's related to we as society just don't want to persevere. We don't want to tough it out. We have no mental toughness as a society today.
Okay, which sounds like something I heard on Fox Sports Radio this morning.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
Everything Chuck just said, but also NIL. I think it is a factor. I think it goes into the conversation of we're paying this guy $250,000 and he can't get off the bench on the basketball court because he's quote unquote hurt, even though he's not. He just doesn't want to play. Or
why are we going to be picking on Kevin McCullough?
I'm just throwing. I didn't put a name out there. Or we're paying this guy $1 million and he can't catch a football. Or we're paying this guy whatever. That is a factor in it. And it adds a layer of frustration that the donors who have donated, the fans who have listened, the fans who have gone through coaching changes and not seeing anything change, just like Chuck said, the wick gets shorter for each coach because you have to up it every single time. And upping the expectations when you bring in the new person builds people higher up, and the fall gets farther and farther because of that. All of that goes into it, but NIL is a factor.
I think to answer my question, I don't think the NIL is as big of a factor and people being angry and frustrated. I think it's something that you mentioned but really didn't give this a... I feel like here in Lubbock, Texas, people are frustrated because we keep... it's how many different regimes, now from Tuberville to where we are now. It's, they've all given us hope and they've all taken it away. And I think it's just like you understand that teams have bad stretches. You can pick any, John Blake era at Oklahoma or whatever, where teams are bad for a while, right? Mm-hmm. But then they get a different guy and it gets better. And I just think the fan base I think it's building on the whole, last guy wasn't it. I mean, we keep feeling like we can't find the guy, right?
It's exhausting.
Yeah. And it's all of them have given us some hope, and then there's been times where they've taken it away too. So it's just, you want to feel like you're moving in the right direction and you're making steps in the right direction, and this program has been one step forward, one step back. It feels like a lot.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Try to provide thought-provoking, things from time to time. Sometimes it's a little off the side. Sometimes it's straight down the middle. but we give it to you as best we can. You can give it to us on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app for that. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Number of people have weighed in. That might be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, Chuck. So all the gas stations are just stealing 2 or 3 cents over and over. We get this. To be fair, he warned us before he started. This is also the plot of Superman 3. Jeff responds, you know, you're right. Nice pull. Wasn't aware of that. TJ says this. Thank you, Jeff. Perfect Office Space music. I wondered if that's what that was. Extra Goose, horse name. You like that? A little Extra Goose?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Gas pumps are regulated by the state. You are getting your gas. Okay. Chuck did all the math. The answer was still Arkansas. Okay. By Chuck's logic, the football team should play Arizona and Arizona State back to back and just stay in Arizona for the week. Well, that is possible too. Let's see. Nehemiah Glover was fast, and it's great to hear his name again. He was fantastic at the slip screen pass play.
Yes.
What about scat backs, Johnny Mack and Tyrone Thurman? Tyrone Thurman is before my time, but I'm certainly aware of him. They were both blazing fast. Cowboy Cody. Okay. I mean, I pulled out a couple of names from the past today. Terrence Bullitt and Nehemiah Glover. Mm-hmm. They also probably have a midweek game they need to get to. Oh, yeah, and they go to class. That's from the softball conversation. All right. With regard to your question of the day, we're talking about, the fatigue or the quick draw or quick fire that people want for, or the criticism of programs or athletes or coaches or anything. This, and I don't know if this is at us or at Texas Tech or others. That's how I feel about this show sometimes. I keep tuning in every morning thinking it's going to get better, and it just doesn't. Regime change? Like, that's a shot, right?
Dang, Coach McGuire, that
right
was
here.
harsh.
Yeah, right. Man, thanks for listening.
I mean, not wrong. We hope we get better every day.
Totally fair.
I agree with Jamie. It feels more like one step forward, two back, and consistently having to fight the backwards momentum. People want instant gratification, making appliances to make things faster and easier, like microwave ovens, even quick marriages in Vegas, etc.
Let's go back to the one step forward, one step back thing.
Okay.
I think I said one step forward, one step back. This texter said one step forward, two back.
Right. Yeah, you did. You said one.
I don't feel like we're going backwards.
Yeah.
I really do feel like what the problem is it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Because every time you get some momentum going, you have to take a step back. You've got to have the loss to Baylor. You have the loss to TCU. You get going forward. You look like you're going to be a contender in the Big 12, and boom, you get your legs knocked out from underneath you, and you got to start stepping forward again. And when you don't get that next 2 steps forward, and the next thing happens, regime change, and then you're taking 4 steps back. Then you get 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps, and it's the frustrating part of having to cover the ground again that you just covered because you couldn't keep it together. Or couldn't continue with your momentum is the frustrating part. But all of us think you're in a better position now than you were 20 years ago with facilities. I'd say with coaching. I'd say with strength and conditioning and all the things going on within the university. You are better than where you were when Mike Leach left. But you're not where you want to be or where we think you could have been. Because you keep slipping. I
mean, certainly with facilities, because you have the indoor, you have all that's taken place since he left. But also since he left, I mean, just think about this.
We've had 2 locker rooms.
Right. But think about this. You've had 7 coaches since 2008 that have won bowl games. Mike Leach, Ruffin McNeil, Tommy Tuberville, Chris Thompson, Cliff Kingsbury, Sonny Cumbie. Joey McGuire. Joey McGuire talked about how you have a chance.
2 of those guys were just interim, though.
I understand that, but you had coaching changes as a result of that. But my point is, My point is that Coach McGuire talked about the other day that they have a chance, this group of seniors, to do something that has never been done here before, and that's win 4 consecutive bowl games. You've never done that. I mean, and is that a significant accomplishment? Maybe it's not in some people's eyes compared to what you thought you were going to have at the start of this season.
I'm not trying to say that it's not significant, but would you tell me that any of the bowls were significant bowl games?
I would say the Liberty Bowl because of who you beat.
Okay.
The Liberty Bowl because of who you beat. But you certainly can make that case with, Ole Miss.
I'd rather you go to better bowls, more significant bowls, and lose them.
Sure.
Than go to insignificant bowls and win.
It's fair. Because if you want to go back and just look at in the history of your bowl wins here over the last 20 years, your most significant is the number 4 California Golden Bears losing to Texas Tech in the Holiday Bowl, but they didn't really want to be there. You beat Arizona State in the Holiday Bowl with Cliff Kingsbury in 2013, 34-23, and we all thought after the end of that game, it was like, man, I think we got something here. You won 7 straight, you lost 5 straight, you won your bowl game. You're like, okay, I think we got something here. Didn't pan out for you because the next year you lost to LSU in the Texas Bowl, and it wasn't even a game.
Well, that would be your one step back the next year.
Absolutely.
One step forward, one step back. One step forward, one step back.
So let me ask you this. So at this point,
doing the cha-cha or something.
But let's just say you win 3 of the next 4. Okay, going into the bowl. What? You got tired head already?
No, I'm just like, do you believe that's going to happen?
I think you have a chance. I would tell you this. Would you? I think I'd take 7-5 right now.
So if you are saying I will take 7-5, that means you think it's in question that we're going to get to 7. So that's only 2 wins. Now you're telling me today, hey, you should feel good because listen, if we win 3 out of 4, I'll feel good.
I would feel good. I'd feel great if you win 3 out of 4.
But you saying it today, if you win 3 out of 4, you should feel. Let's win 3 out of 4, then we'll see if we
feel good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think that's very unlikely. Why wouldn't you just say, listen here, if you win these 4 and you get 9, I mean, why would you be sad about the season? It's not realistic.
Yeah. Why would I be sad if you won 8?
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.